This is part 2 of the Boundaries mini-series. If you have not yet watched part 1, I will highly encourage that you do so. The link is in the description box of this video. Every time we talk about boundaries, there's always one question that keeps coming up. And that question is, why is it so difficult to set boundaries? Why is it so difficult for us to set healthy boundaries with the people in our lives? That is a question we'll be trying to answer today. And here's the thing. There is a psychological reason. Actually, there are 3 psychological reasons as to why you're not setting healthy boundaries, as to why you're not setting any boundaries at all. And we'll be talking about all of them today. But before we do so, let's talk about 3 things that happen if you don't set boundaries. The first thing that happens if you don't set boundaries is that you continue being disrespected. People already know that there's nothing you're going to do if they disrespect you. They know that whatever they do to you, you are going to accept it, because for you, confrontation is a problem. You don't want to argue. You know. They know that there's nothing you're going to do, so they can exploit you, they can take advantage of you, they can do whatever they want, because you will let them get away with it. Watakujaribu, and there's nothing you're going to do. You have taught people that they can take your stuff without your permission. You have taught people that they can borrow money from you without giving it back. You have taught people that if they disrespect you in any way, there's nothing you're going to do, you're going to let them get away with it. And so you continue complaining about how people take advantage of you. You continue complaining about how people disrespect you, but it's because you've refused to set healthy boundaries. And here's the thing. I know you might be afraid of confrontation, but confrontation is not always a bad thing. You might be seated there thinking, I don't want to seem like the problematic person. I don't want to seem like the person who is causing too much drama. I just want to chill. But the thing is, the more you want those things without confronting people, the more they take advantage of you, because they know there's nothing you're going to do. You're going to be disrespected and you're going to allow it. People will continue testing you on a daily basis because unajua kuna kitu unaweza do. So think about how you're letting people take advantage of you just because you want to seem nice, just because you don't want conflict, just because you don't want confrontation. Think about how that is hurting you and making it difficult for you to have healthy relationships with people. Something else that happens if you don't set boundaries is that you're continuously tired and exhausted and burnt out. You're always emotionally depleted because you're constantly doing things for people. Too much for too many people all the time. You never rest. For you, you're a yes man. You're willing to do anything for anybody, even when you don't have the energy to do it, because you don't want to seem like a bad person who does not help other people. You think that saying no to people is a bad thing. You think that saying no to people makes you a selfish person. And so you continue taking on these responsibilities that you cannot fulfill, or you cannot fulfill well, just because you want to seem like a nice person. Again, the desire to be seen as a nice person is going to hurt you so much. You need to stop trying to make people think that you're a nice person. You have to realize that that niceness you are aspiring to is not really a virtue. The most important thing is kindness. Focus on being kind. Let go of trying to be nice and trying to be seen as nice. Stop trying to be everybody's savior. Stop trying to rescue everybody just because you think that it's going to make you seem like a nice person. One more thing that happens if you don't set healthy boundaries is that you make people have unrealistic expectations of you, because you've showed them that you're constantly available. You're available 24/7 like a helpline. So for them, they will always know that they can call you for whatever, whenever, wherever. If the people around you are under the impression that you are available 24/7, then you can understand why they would expect you to respond to them 24/7. My question then becomes, if you are available to everybody 24/7, at what point are you available to yourself? At what point do you get to take care of yourself, to put yourself ahead? At what point do you cater to your own needs if you're always available to other people? So I hope you're understanding that being 24/7 available to people only makes it impossible for you to say no. You can see how that leads to you accepting to do things for people even when you can't do them, so you're constantly burnt out. And you can see how that makes you feel like people are taking advantage of you. It makes you feel disrespected because it's like everybody's always coming to you with everything that is going on with their lives. So those are the 3 main problems that happen in your life if you continue living without healthy boundaries. And I know right now you're wondering, okay, what happens if I set healthy boundaries? What changes in my life? Why should I put so much effort and time into setting healthy boundaries? Why should I go through all that trouble to set healthy boundaries with people? Because it takes a lot of time and effort, and it requires a lot of changes in your relationships. Why should you do all those things? Here's the reason why I think you should set healthy boundaries. 1, you become a very reliable person and a very trustworthy person. Why? People know what to expect from you. People know how far you can go. People know the things to ask from you. Nobody is seated there thinking, hey, Jennifer is available 24/7. Nobody is seated there thinking, Jennifer will do everything for me. If you set healthy boundaries, people know there are limits to interacting with Jennifer. There are things I can ask from Jennifer and there are things I cannot ask from her. And I know the things I ask from her and she says yes, those things are going to get done. People will understand when you say yes, you mean yes. When you say no, you mean no. And it's not because you're a selfish person, it's because you're not capable of taking care of everybody's needs all the time. Your word becomes worth something because you'll not be accepting responsibilities just so that you seem like a nice person. You'll actually be accepting responsibilities you know that you can deliver on. And when you deliver, when you are reliable like that, people trust you more, people respect you more because they know who you are, what you stand for, and what to expect from you. Something else that happens when you start setting healthy boundaries is that you're going to stop offering people help with a secret hope that they will turn you down so that you can walk away with your image of a nice person still intact. Remember what we said, that people with unhealthy boundaries most of the time will be people pleasers. They will want to be seen as nice people. They cannot say no because they think that saying no makes them a bad person. But when you have healthy boundaries, you're going to realize that saying no does not make you a bad person. And so you'll not offer help that you know you can't deliver. It's not about looking nice. For you, it will be about being reliable and trustworthy, being kind. Finally, when you start setting healthy boundaries, you're going to start getting all the desires, most of the desires of your heart met. Because when you are making plans, when you are agreeing to things, when you are interacting with people, you're not only going to be putting their needs ahead, you're also going to be considering yourself and your needs when a decision is being made. You're not only going to be thinking about what will other people need, what will other people get. If you are considering yourself in decision making, it means that there's a high chance that your needs are going to be met because you're making them known and people know what you require, what you need. And you're allowing people to help you when you need help. You're allowing people to give you what you need when you need it. Now that you know the benefits of setting boundaries and the problems that happen if you don't set boundaries, why are you not setting boundaries? Why is it so difficult to set boundaries with the people in your life? As I mentioned in the beginning, there are psychological reasons behind that. The first one being attachment issues. Because of our need for love and belonging and to be taken care of and to be validated and approved by the people in our lives, we struggle very much to do what suits us, what makes us feel happy, because our attachment to them is threatened every time we choose ourselves. So you'll find that because of our fear of rejection and our fear of abandonment, we do too much. We forgive too many things that should not be forgiven. We accept disrespect, we accept mistreatment and exploitation from people because we think that if we are not problematic, if we don't cause too much trouble, if we are agreeable, then it's going to make these people love us, it's going to make these people accept us, it's going to make these people stay with us. Depending on your attachment style, you're going to find out that there are particular patterns you repeat in your life so that you can get love and approval from the people that you care about. When it comes to attachment styles, they can influence your ability to set boundaries. If when you set a boundary, people act as if they're going to leave you. When you set a boundary, people withdraw their love from you. That fear of being rejected and abandoned can make you accept things that are harmful to you. Attachment is a huge issue that requires a whole separate video because there's a lot that goes into it and there are different types of attachment styles. If you want me to discuss that in a separate video, just let me know in the comment section and I'm going to discuss it. You'll find that attachment has a lot of power on your capacity to set boundaries. And if you don't deal with your attachment problems, if you don't deal with the attachment issues that are going on in your life, then setting boundaries, even if you know how to set boundaries, is going to continue being a problem. And as I said, this is a psychological issue. That's why people go to therapy to discuss these things with a therapist. And a therapist can help you deal with your attachment challenges and the things that you're afraid of so that you're able to set healthier boundaries. The second psychological issue that can cause you to find it difficult to set boundaries is a history of trauma or abuse and experiencing toxic shame. That can make it difficult for you to set boundaries because you have internalized that you're not worthy of boundaries, you're not worthy of respect. The thing with the history of trauma and abuse is that the person who inflicts this abuse on you is somebody who has more power than you. And when somebody has more power than you, it can become very easy for you to defer to them because you think that they know what you're supposed to have and what you can't have. They're the people who get to call the shots. With time, you internalize that you are not worthy of boundaries, you're not worthy of respect, and you don't get to set boundaries because who are you? Who do you think you are? This person has made you believe that you do not have any power and you don't have any autonomy over your life. You don't get to make these big decisions like that. Even after you've left this power dynamic with this person and maybe you're in other relationships where there's no this power play, you still continue believing that you do not have any power to set boundaries because you've internalized with time that you're not worthy of boundaries. And again, that's why people go to therapy to talk to a therapist so that they can help them deal with this idea, this internal idea they have that they are victims and they are powerless and they are not able to set boundaries with other people. The other psychological concept that makes it difficult for you to set boundaries is called social learning. This is based on a theory by a psychologist called Albert Bandura, where he said that social behaviors are learned by observing and imitating other people. So what has that got to do with you setting boundaries? If where you grew up, in your environment, in your family of origin, boundaries were seen as bad things, or boundaries were punished, or people in your environment did not have boundaries, or they had boundaries but those boundaries kept being violated and that was acceptable, then you grew up believing that boundaries were not possible, boundaries were not a thing that you were allowed to set. Maybe in your home, people did not knock on doors before entering in people's rooms. People did not ask for permission before taking other people's property. Then you grow up thinking that that is kawaida behavior. So you grow up with a very flawed notion of what boundaries are and how they are set and how they are respected and what happens when people set boundaries. That is again another topic of discussion that can take forever to discuss because it's a whole theory. But I want you to understand that your inability to set boundaries is not coming out of the blue. It's not because there's an inherent problem with you that you can't set boundaries. The thing is that there are psychological forces behind your inability to set boundaries. I have a whole training on boundaries. It's a masterclass on boundaries setting. And this is one of the topics that we cover, the psychological forces that influence your inability to set boundaries. If you want to learn more about that, you can check the description box. There's a link to that in there and you can sign up. I hope at this point you're understanding why it is difficult to set boundaries, but you're also seeing why it is worth it to set boundaries because you've spoken about the benefits of setting boundaries and the problems that occur if you don't set boundaries. Part 3 of this series is about the step-by-step guide on how to set healthy boundaries. The link to that video is in the description box. Check it out so that you can learn how to set healthy boundaries. You can put to practice the things you've spoken about in part 1 and part 2. If this video has been helpful to you in any way, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you've learned. Tell me in the comments which of the psychological reasons I've spoken about is behind your inability to set boundaries. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps with the algorithm. It makes YouTube realize that this is important knowledge that needs to reach more people. Take care of your mental health and I will see you in the next video.